The story begins with two brothers, Sergei and Dmitri, who travel to northern Ghana with their father, Nikolai, on a hunting trip. Nikolai is determined to kill a legendary lion called Tsar, a beast rumored to have killed over 3,000 people. He also wants to toughen up his sons, but while walking through the jungle, Sergei and Dmitri fall behind. Suddenly, the lion appears. Sergei tells Dmitri to stay behind him and aims his rifle. Instead of shooting, he looks the lion straight in the eyes. Sensing no fear or aggression, the lion doesn't attack. But then Nikolai fires at the animal. The wounded lion becomes furious, attacks Sergei, and carries him deep into the jungle. Even Nikolai's second shot can't stop it. Elsewhere in northern Ghana, we meet a young girl named Calypso who's spending time with her grandmother. Her grandmother tells her that their family's cards aren't toys. They reveal a person's destiny. She asks Calypso to draw 3 cards. The first represents the powerful women in their bloodline. The second warns of a terrible tragedy. And the third symbolizes great danger. Her grandmother then gives Calypso a mysterious potion that has been passed down for generations. She explains that anyone who drinks it can heal from even the deadliest injuries. She also warns Calypso never to tell her parents about it. Later, Calypso goes on a safari with her parents. Bored, she quietly wanders into the jungle by herself. There, she finds the legendary lion holding the badly injured Sergei. Instead of harming him, the lion's blood seeps into Sergei's wounds before it walks away. Seeing he's close to death, Calypso gives him the magical potion. Sergei experiences strange visions but remains unconscious. Calypso tells her parents, who call the rainforest rangers. Sergei is flown to a hospital, and before he leaves, Calypso slips one of her grandmother's cards into his hand. At the hospital, Sergei's heart stops, and the doctors pronounce him dead. But 3 minutes later, he suddenly comes back to life. The potion, combined with the lion's blood mixing into his DNA, gives Sergei the lion's extraordinary abilities. The doctors are shocked. Soon, Nikolai and Dmitri arrive and take Sergei home. There, Sergei finds a letter from his mother, asking him to never become the kind of man his father is. Later, Nikolai scolds Sergei for refusing to shoot the lion. He calls him weak, says he'll one day inherit the family business, and reveals the lion's mounted head as a trophy. Furious, Sergei tells his father, "That lion should have killed you instead." That night, he secretly leaves home with some cash and his passport. Dmitri tries to stop him, but Sergei says something strange is happening to him, and he needs to return to the place where their mother used to take them for picnics. Heartbroken, Dmitri lets him go. Sergei travels back to Russia, but before reaching his destination, a massive herd of wild buffalo suddenly charges toward him. Terrified, he closes his eyes. One of the buffalo suddenly stops right in front of Sergei while the rest of the herd rushes past him. Somehow, not a single animal touches him. Once the herd is gone, the lone buffalo quietly walks away. Sergei finally reaches the place where he used to have picnics with his mother. He decides to stay there, and over time, he begins discovering the true extent of his new abilities. One day, he spots a group of poachers killing wild buffalo just to cut off their horns. Using his enhanced lion senses, he tracks them from miles away. By the time he arrives, most of them have already left, leaving only 2 men behind. When they threaten him, Sergei kills them both. Years later, in the present day, Sergei arrives at his mother's old estate by private plane. Meanwhile, Dmitri leaves him a voice message. Since Dmitri is gifted at perfectly mimicking other people's voices, he tries to prank Sergei by impersonating their father, Nikolai. But Sergei sees right through it and isn't fooled. Not long after, another group of poachers enters the estate and slaughters several buffalo for their horns. Sergei steps in front of their truck to stop them. Instead of slowing down, they try to run him over. So Sergei jumps onto the moving truck and brutally takes down 4 of the poachers. One survivor escapes in another vehicle, but Sergei memorizes the license plate with his enhanced vision. The surviving poacher rushes to his boss for help, only to discover Sergei is already there. He has already killed the boss. Sergei eliminates the last poacher with a crossbow, then crosses another name off the list in his notebook before walking away. Later, we meet Calypso again at the funeral of her friend Samantha, who was recently murdered. Sergei finds her there and returns the same card she placed in his hand years ago after saving his life. Calypso is stunned. Sergei thanks her for saving him that day. He also reveals that Samantha's killer, Semyon Chorny, escaped justice because the police never acted, so Sergei killed him himself. Calypso doesn't believe him at first, but after checking the news, she learns Chorny was indeed murdered in prison. The next day, she meets Sergei. She tells him she never wanted anyone killed. As a lawyer, she believes in justice, but admits Chorny deserved what he got. Then she asks if Sergei has become a gangster like his father. Sergei explains that growing up, he watched Nikolai destroy countless lives. His father expected him to follow the same path, but after everything that happened, Sergei chose a different one. Now, instead of protecting criminals, he hunts them. The media has started calling him the Hunter, though he still still prefers to be called Sergei. He also asks Calypso for help. Since her law firm represents dangerous criminals, he wants information on the worst of them so he can bring them to justice. Calypso warns him that if he keeps making powerful enemies, the people he loves will eventually become targets. With that warning, she walks away. Elsewhere, we meet Alexei, who visits Chorny's former partners with his associate John, hoping to form a new alliance. One of the gangsters laughs and says, "People call you Rhino, but you don't look anything like one." Alexei smiles, disconnects a tube attached to his body, and his skin begins hardening as he transforms into the monstrous Rhino. The gangsters open fire, but the bullets barely affect him. He simply pulls them out of his body before returning to normal. When they try shooting again, Alexei's sniper takes them out from a distance. The only survivors immediately agree to work for him. To settle an old score, Alexei orders them to assassinate Nikolai. Years earlier, Alexei had offered Nikolai a partnership, but Nikolai humiliated him and turned him down. However, Nikolai senses the attack before it happens. With the help of his guards, he wipes out every assassin sent after him. Dmitri is also staying at the hotel, but when the shooting starts, he panics and hides under a piano instead of helping. That only makes Nikolai furious. He snaps, "I was attacked in my own club, and you hid instead of protecting me. You are my biggest disappointment." Humiliated, Dmitri is shoved aside. Meanwhile, Alexei learns that his men have been killed. After watching footage of Sergei escaping a Russian prison, he realizes Sergei is the mysterious vigilante known as Craven, the man hunting criminals. So Alexei hires a deadly assassin known as the Foreigner to eliminate him. The Foreigner visits the prison where Chorny was killed, searching for clues. When a guard catches him, he traps the man in a powerful illusion, steals his gun, and kills him. Later, Sergei joins Dmitri to celebrate his birthday at a nightclub. Nikolai also shows up, and the three spend the evening together. After Dmitri drinks too much, Sergei takes him home and stays the night. But Sergei can't sleep because he keeps hearing his mother's voice in his head. He eventually goes outside and falls asleep beneath a tree. The next morning, he returns inside. Dmitri is gone. There's blood all over his bed. Rushing to the balcony, Sergei sees armed men forcing Dmitri into a vehicle. Without hesitation, Sergei leaps from the rooftop. The fall doesn't even scratch him. He catches up to the SUV, jumps onto it, and tries to smash the windows. But the vehicle is completely bulletproof. The kidnappers escape to a helicopter. Sergei tries to bring it down with a cable, but fails and crashes into a river as the helicopter disappears. Realizing he can't do this alone, Sergei turns to Calypso for help. Using her connections, she begins tracking the kidnappers. Sergei then confronts Nikolai, who reveals the kidnappers are demanding $20 million for Dmitri's release. But Nikolai refuses to pay. He says, "It's not about the money. If I give in, I'll look weak. Everything I've built will fall apart." Sergei fires back, saying his father has spent his entire life hurting people, and if Dmitri dies, the blame will be his. Nikolai coldly replies that Dmitri was doomed the moment he was kidnapped, and paying the ransom won't change that. Disgusted, Sergei walks away. Soon after, Calypso discovers the kidnapper's location through one of her clients. Unknown to her, the information was deliberately fed to her by the Foreigner, who kills the client immediately afterward. Calypso calls Sergei and tells him the kidnappers are hiding in Turkey. Sergei flies there at once and tracks them to a remote monastery. Using poisoned darts, he silently takes out the guards before fighting his way inside. Soon, the entire compound is after him, but Sergei tears through them like a lion. He grabs the kidnapper, hangs him out of a window, and demands to know where Dmitri is. Suddenly, one of Alexei's men fires a rocket. The explosion sends Sergei and the kidnapper plunging into a ravine. Sergei uses the kidnapper to break his fall, escaping with only minor injuries. Then the kidnapper unexpectedly calls him by name. Shocked, Sergei asks how he knows who he is. The man reveals that Rhino sent him, and now Rhino plans to kill both of them. Before he can say anything else, the collapsing building buries them under the rubble. Alexei's men arrive to recover Sergei's body, but Sergei has already escaped. He quietly kills the search team before calling Calypso. He tells her Rhino is behind Dmitri's kidnapping, that the mission in Turkey was actually a trap meant to kill him, and warns that Calypso is now in danger too. He tells her to head straight to the cargo terminal, where they'll meet as soon as possible. Meanwhile, the Foreigner arrives at the monastery in Turkey to investigate the massacre. He finds one of Sergei's poisoned darts and realizes it's made from a rare Siberian plant. When two police officers confront him, he traps them in terrifying illusions before killing them with the same poison. Elsewhere, Alexei Alexei believes Sergei is finally dead. He visits the captive Dmitri and reveals they actually crossed paths years ago, on the day the legendary lion attacked Sergei. Then he drops another bombshell. Nikolai refused to pay the $20 million ransom. Alexei explains that Sergei was the real target all along, but because Sergei wasn't home, they kidnapped Dmitri instead. He even shows Dmitri the video proving Sergei is the vigilante known as Craven. Next, Alexei explains how he became Rhino. A scientist named Professor Miles Warren was experimenting with ways to multiply human strength, and Alexei volunteered. The experiment made him incredibly powerful, but it also left him in constant pain. As long as medicine flows through the tube attached to his body, he remains normal. Remove it, and he transforms into Rhino. Alexei then offers Dmitri a partnership after taking over Nikolai's empire. Dmitri refuses, saying he spent his whole life being treated as weak, but he'll never betray his family just to gain power. Enraged, Alexei starts beating him until John interrupts with unexpected news. Sergei is still alive. Just then, the foreigner arrives. Using his illusion powers, he freezes everyone in place before telling Alexei that he's finally tracked Sergei's location. The poison dart recovered from the monastery could only have come from a rare plant found in one remote part of Siberia. He's certain Sergei is hiding there. The foreigner also reveals a special toxin gun that causes terrifying hallucinations, paralysis, and eventually a slow, painful death. Alexei is more than happy to use it. Meanwhile, Sergei brings Calypso to his mother's old estate in Siberia. A panther suddenly attacks, but Sergei recognizes it from years ago and scares it away without hurting it. Inside the house, Calypso notices shelves filled with herbal medicines. Sergei explains he's spent years trying to recreate the potion that saved his life, but he's never figured out its secret. He asks if she can make another one. Calypso tells him the potion came from her grandmother, who has since passed away, so the recipe is lost forever. Just then, Dmitri calls. Instead of Dmitri, Alexei gets on the phone and once again offers Sergei a chance to join him. Sergei hangs up without saying a word. Furious, Alexei sends his men into the forest, but Sergei turns every trap against them, hunting the hunters one by one. Even the panther joins the fight before disappearing back into the woods. During the chaos, Dmitri manages to escape. Hearing his men scream, Alexei orders helicopters to bombard the forest. Explosions ignite a massive wildfire, filling the area with smoke. Using the cover, the foreigner shoots Sergei with the toxin gun. Almost instantly, Sergei is trapped in horrifying hallucinations, seeing swarms of spiders crawling all over his body. A second shot weakens him even further. The foreigner brutally beats Sergei and prepares to finish him off. At the last second, Calypso fires a crossbow. The arrow pierces the foreigner's eye, killing him instantly. She quickly gives Sergei another dose of the magical potion, and within moments his strength is completely restored. John captures Dmitri and brings him back to Alexei. Since John saw the foreigner defeat Sergei, Alexei believes Sergei is finally dead and prepares to leave with his men. But before they can escape, a massive herd of wild buffalo blocks their path. Seeing the animals, Alexei removes the medical tube from his body and transforms into Rhino. At that exact moment, Sergei arrives. Rhino immediately attacks, hurling Sergei across the road with incredible force. The impact flips Dmitri's vehicle, but thankfully, he survives. Sergei fights back with his knives, but Rhino's armored skin is too tough. The blades snap on impact, and Rhino brutally overpowers him. Still, Sergei refuses to quit. He spots the tube attached to Rhino's body and drives a metal rod straight into it. Rhino weakens instantly. Sergei then throws him into the middle of the charging buffalo herd, where Rhino is trampled and left mortally wounded. Before dying, Rhino reveals one final secret. The video exposing Sergei's identity was sent to him by Nikolai himself. Shocked, Sergei confronts his father. He accuses Nikolai of using him to eliminate Rhino without caring that Dmitri's life was also put at risk. Nikolai calmly admits it. He knew Sergei would never obey him, but he also knew Sergei would do anything to save his brother. Sergei tells him he could have killed him years ago, but didn't because he still saw him as his father. Then he leaves. Moments later, a wild bear suddenly attacks Nikolai. Nikolai reaches for his gun, only to realize Sergei secretly removed all the bullets. With no way to defend himself, Nikolai is mauled to death. 1 year later, Sergei visits Dmitri on his birthday. Dmitri says he met a doctor in New York who completely changed his life. A group of mobsters soon arrives to meet with him, leaving Sergei confused. Dmitri had promised to sell their father's empire and leave the criminal world behind. Instead, he's taking control of it. When Sergei questions him, Dmitri blames him for everything. He says Sergei isn't any better than their father, and even accuses him of being responsible for Nikolai's death. Then Dmitri reveals the truth. The mysterious doctor gave him powers. Just like a chameleon, he can now perfectly copy not only someone's voice, but their entire appearance. To prove it, he transforms into an exact copy of Sergei. Dmitri declares that with Rhino and Nikolai gone, he'll build his own criminal empire, and this time, no one will stop him. Before leaving, he tells Sergei that their father left him one final gift. Back at Nikolai's mansion, Sergei finds a letter. In it, Nikolai writes that every man must choose his own path, and someday, Sergei will understand why he chose his. Inside the box beside the letter is a jacket made from the hide of the legendary lion, Tsar. Sergei puts it on, stares at his reflection, and with that, the movie comes to an end.